Whenever we think of what makes someone a member of the Straw Hat Pirates, there are a few things that must fall in line for that to happen. A tragic backstory and a personal dream they wish to accomplish are seen as two key aspects. Another element is the role they would serve in the crew that will allow them to mix in their dream and affiliation for their contribution during their travels. Two of the three have already been answered with regards to speculation of Yamato potentially joining the Straw Hats, but there are still other factors that have yet to be answered before deciding if she's a viable option to join. While those answers may not come to us during the war on Onigashima, we'll certainly have them by the time we depart from Wano, and should the reasoning suffice, Yamato's role as a Straw Hat could prove to be the perfect final addition as we head towards the end game of the story. So let's discuss Yamato joining the Straw Hats and why it is a very real possibility. Let's go. Ever since her debut in Act 3 of Wano, I've become a pretty big fan of Yamato. I'd argue that she's been my latest favorite character brought into the story since Katakuri in Whole Cake Island and Tama at the start of Wano. And you're probably saying to yourselves, of course lads, we know why you like her, and yes, that's a very small thing. But if you've been following my coverage of One Piece for a while now, you probably already know why. But just to make sure that we're all on the same page, let's go over some of the reasons as to why I really like Yamato. Some elements that gravitated my interest in her stem from a few things. For starters, the way she carries herself as a person that desires to be free from the shackles of her father to venture out to sea and explore the world just like her idol Kozuki Oden. Yamato is very vibrant in her personality. She's shown to have many sides to her, ranging from being cute to hilarious to a straight up savage. Any and all interactions we've seen her have with Luffy show that she's easy to get along with. Her character design is quite beautiful and really brings the best out of her greatest assets from all angles. She's shown to be an impressive fighter, sporting all three forms of Haki at an advanced level and being one of the very few in the world capable of that. And she's got an incredible voice actor in Sayori Hayami that really brings out the best of Yamato whenever she speaks. She simply comes across as a character you'll like right off the bat when you first meet them. Despite her current persona to be based on Kozuki Oden, the reasoning behind it goes back to what she saw growing up that led her to act out this way. She was someone who went through a rough childhood at the hands of her abusive father Kaido for her admiration of his enemy. Wanting to become like Oden, she decided to emulate the late samurai and don his personality for her own to give her the strength needed to fight back against her father in hopes of breaking free from his shackles. There are still plenty of questions surrounding Yamato's family life that might be provided in Kaido's backstory to know why he's acted this way to Yamato beyond her acting like Oden, which could involve Yamato's mother who has been absent in all of this. Now the whole purpose of this video is to discuss why Yamato joining the crew is still a real possibility to occur before we leave Wano. Normally with the case of the rest of the crew, we've had them interact with said new mates before they are fully recruited as a member. So far Yamato's only had interactions with Luffy along with very brief passing bys with Sanji and Frankie. The rest of the Straw Hats don't know her at all, and yet she has a desire to sail to sea with the crew. I can understand why some people aren't too fond of the idea of Yamato joining when there are a couple issues with it. One of them was the lack of time spent with the crew. That however can easily be solved upon the end of the Onigashima War when Kaido has been defeated. As we've always done with the end of every arc, there is a post arc where we see Luffy and the crew spending time with a potential new member before it's decided that they will join the Straw Hats. In this case, we're long overdue for a proper banquet to celebrate Wano's liberation from Kaido and Orochi over the past 20 years. I feel that with where Wano is right now currently, it would feel inappropriate to insert a section of time used to make Yamato being on a good wavelength with the crew. That in of itself can be reserved when all has been settled before giving Yamato and the Straw Hats a chance to create chemistry while enjoying themselves upon the war's end. But the single most important aspect of all of this is what becomes of Yamato the person. What I mean is, will Yamato continue to parade herself as Oden, or will she learn to be herself and chase after her own dreams of her own accord rather than fulfilling someone else's? I'm not annoyed by how Yamato conducts herself as an Oden 2.0 after seeing what she went through growing up. She simply saw him as a beacon of hope to keep on living, which later on created this strong admiration for the late samurai. However, once Wano has been saved and all is restored, what happens next? While the easy answer is for Yamato to stay behind in Wano to become a new retainer for Momonosuke, as he will need new members in his ranks if the Akazaya 9 are in fact, dead, I don't believe I can see her staying back at all as an option. When Yamato stated her desire to travel with the Straw Hats across the seas, I do believe that part isn't solely because of Oden or what was in the journal. She always wanted to be free from the captivity of her father, and this would be her chance to see what the world is like outside of the hell that was her home in Onigashima. Now granted, how she gels with the Straw Hats weighs heavily on their interactions upon the conclusion of the war. Will the crew accept her even if she's the daughter of a Yonko? I don't believe that's going to have any impact on their decision making, yet I do feel that Yamato will have to ask herself what it is she wants to accomplish while traveling with the Straw Hats, it defines her own path just like everyone else. If she does hold a desire to see Luffy's journey through to the end, just as Oden did with Roger, what would Yamato need that differentiates herself from following Oden's path bar for bar? I believe that could come down to us finding out more of the concept that is the dawn of the world. This has been implied to involve the Poneglyphs and is an event in which the Mink tribe and the Kozuki family have been waiting centuries for. If there is information from Oden's journal that gives any clues to what it is, this could lead to Yamato to carrying out Oden's will with her on her travels to learn the truth behind it upon the end of the Straw Hats' journey. It's already been stated by Pedro that the Straw Hats will be the ones to lead the world to a new dawn. Yamato told Momo he will be the one to guide the world to a new dawn. However, with Momonosuke taking the helm as Wano's new shogun, his hands will be filled with rebuilding his liberated country. Thus, he may end up passing on that task to Yamato and have her become the new guide that aids the Straw Hats in fulfilling the mission. Now, if Yamato does end up joining the Straw Hats, what would be her role? Everyone in the crew has a position that correlates with what their dream is. Considering that Yamato is in possession of Oden's journal, which he recorded his travels in while part of the Whitebeard and Roger pirates, I believe it's only fitting that Yamato will become the chronicler of the Straw Hat Pirates. The chronicler is the person who records the crew's adventures in their logbook over the course of their travels. Normally, they don't take part in major activities so they can properly chronicle the events at hand. However, in Yamato's case, she's a bit unique for this position. She is a formidable fighter in her own right, as she is the third member in the crew to possess all three forms of Haki, along with having mastered the advanced states of Conqueror's Haki. This could come in handy to elevate the other two members that possess this form of Haki, those of course being Luffy and Zoro. Her Devil Fruit being a mythical zone, which enables her to transform as this wolf deity labeled as the Guardian of Wano by Kaido. This makes her ability to recover as a zone user a crucial component for when it comes to recovering between battles. On top of that, it would have no effect on her position to ever withhold from fighting while still keeping notes of every island that the crew explores. Despite not being there for the beginning of the journey, Yamato could end up talking with the crew about their travels across the Grand Line, the post-war banquet, or even as they travel, recording the adventures in it as the crew's memory book, while also doing so as a full-fledged member of the crew. Chroniclers are usually historians who have noticed the various changes and epic events that tend to happen when the pirate crew gets involved, thus have joined up with them so as to experience history as it's being made and recorded accurately. Given how there is a literal 100-year blank space of lost history about the Void Century, Yamato can ensure that the things that happened during the Straw Hats adventure, as well as what they learn about the Ancient Kingdom, the dawn of the world, among many other things, are stored within their logbook from their own perspective. This would also see Yamato work alongside Robin in this scenario, as the latter is trying to learn the history of the world through her pursuit of the Poneglyphs. This would provide us of a new dynamic on the crew between them and opening up the possibility of Yamato learning new things from Robin, whether it's how to converse with people in conversation or seeing more of her feminine side with some help from Nami as well. I can't imagine this being a more perfect scenario to give Yamato's role in the crew a greater meaning than to be the person that is keeping note of their travels, to shape up the essence of their journey as an authentic tale that can't be fabricated. In terms of their ranking and strength, would the addition of Yamato change anything regarding the monster trio? I won't shy away from it, and again, this is just my belief from what the story has shown me, but we could very well be seeing some changes on the horizon. As soon as Wano ends, Luffy as a Yonko separates himself from the rest of the crew in a league of his own, which means Zoro, Yamato, and Sanji would be viewed as the new monster trio of the Straw Hat Pirates and essentially its top three commanders. I would have included Jinbei to fit in with Zoro and Sanji, but with the way things are shaping up, he's looking to be the fifth strongest member of the crew behind Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Yamato after Wano. Those four characters were able to compete against the Yonko and or commanders in this arc, either coming away with victories or were impressive in their fights with them. And if we factor in Yamato's combat prowess, having all three forms of Haki, her Devil Fruit, I don't see how Jinbei post Wano will still be considered a better fighter than Zoro, Yamato, and Sanji, who are only going to continue getting stronger by the end of the story. So with that all being said, the points I brought up in this video illustrate why Yamato joining the Straw Hats is a real possibility. It would give her a legitimate chance to establish her purpose to travel with them, carrying Oden's will and Momo's task to guide the Straw Hats to the dawn of the world. It gives them the extra increase in strength to be viewed and feared as a legitimate Yonko crew. If Yamato's role as a chronicler does in fact become her position, it would be a fitting way to conclude any further recruitment of the Straw Hat Pirates, as they have now have the final member who is in charge of making sure their adventure is remembered until the end of time. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this video. Do you believe that Yamato has a chance of joining the Straw Hat Pirates? What do you want to see her role to be in the crew? And where would she rank in terms of strength if she were to join right now? Let me know all of that down in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new here. If you want to be part of the weekly experience when it comes to my coverage of One Piece through my live reactions week in and week out, subscribe if you haven't already, click on the bell Shandora to stay up to date with everything that goes on the channel. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video. Commodore Lad signing off. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care.